Hi, Tim Hughes here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DLA Ignite. With me today, I've got Bertrand Godillot. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about his experience over the last 4 months around social selling. So he has created something over 120 meetings in 4 months, which I must admit is absolutely amazing. So Bertrand, where can people find you?
Well, it's pretty easy. My home is on LinkedIn, so you can find me at Bertrand.Godillot, on LinkedIn. And also my website is, my company website is odysseusandco.com. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward.
So in terms of your story, you started your social selling journey quite recently, having had a background in supply chain. And in that time, you built up a network of something like 1,083, to be precise. And a lot of your network was in the US rather than France.
Yes, exactly. So my background is, I've been working in supply chain for many years for software vendors, one of which was based in the US, a startup based in the US that I helped growing their business in Europe. And therefore, most of my network was in the US, mainly, to be honest, I would say almost 75% in California, the other 20% in the rest of Europe, and very few contacts in France, because it happens that I did not really work a lot in France in that niche area.
So my point being is that you pretty much going from zero. It's a standing start.
Yeah, we can say that. We can say that my network in France was really small.
So if there's anybody out there who's just starting in sales or just starting in social selling, this is a great case study for them, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, it's a perfect example, I think. Yeah.
So in that time, you've grown your contacts by 2,800. So you now have a network of about 4,000.
Exactly.
You've now got relationships in 395 companies in France.
Yes.
You've written 95 LinkedIn articles.
That's right. Yeah, quite.
You've done 730 tweets, and you've now got a newsletter on LinkedIn, and I've got you've got 360 subscribers, but it's probably more than that now.
Actually, almost 380 now.
Okay,
380. The latest, the November issue.
And off the back of that, you've got 120 meetings with people.
Exactly, because what I'd like to say is that most of our networks, especially when we're working, and our professional network is made of people we already met or we've done business with. What's really different now is that I've been targeting specifically some new contacts. So what we can say is, although the network is actually quite small, because 4,000 people is not a very extensive network, but the reality is that 3,000 of them are really very targeted. So these are sales professionals, marketing professionals, business dev professionals, people that I believe can either influence or be future customers.
So so you're contacting your ICP in effect, aren't you? Your ideal customer profile.
Exactly.
Okay. And so how many cold calls and how many spam emails did you send?
How many cold calls
did you make? Yeah.
Well, I didn't make any cold calls.
Okay. And how many spam emails did you send?
0.
Okay. So you still got 120 meetings in 4 months.
Exactly. Because
with new people that you've never spoken to before.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think the idea here is that we, I keep saying this to the people I'm talking to, is that social media is not a communication channel. It's a very different approach here. What you're really trying to make new friends. So your new connections should end up being friends. For a very simple reason, is because you want to have a very high quality relationship initially to access the level 2 network, your level 2 network. So basically the network of your contacts. So you want to be into as many Rolodexes, so as many LinkedIn Rolodexes as possible within your contacts.
Because you said something recently, which was you're stupid if you pitch to your level 1 contacts. That isn't the game. You need to get into as many of your level 2 contacts, in effect, Rolodexes, into their contact. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, exactly. There's always a question of how do you reach quantity with social selling. And I think the biggest mistake is to think that you can reach quantity with level 1. The real quantity is on level 2. So if you start heavily pinching your level 1 connections, you'll turn them down, and therefore you'll never reach quantity. That's really a very different mindset than any other business dev approaches. So taking social media as part of a global omni-channel strategy and behaving exactly the same, I don't think is a key to success. The success doesn't come from such an approach.
We've had a comment from Adam Gray, who says that's the win, isn't it? No wasted effort, 120 meetings. So you got 120 meetings, but you didn't waste any effort chasing people that didn't want to talk to you.
No, and basically there is a big. I'm a big fan of making bread.
Yeah,
there's a very strong analogy between making bread and creating relationships, and that's all about fermentation. That takes time. Time is the 5th ingredient into this.
But it's interesting that you say time, because when we say, quite often when people talk about social selling takes a long time, people seem to think that's weeks. I mean, what you've done is you've got 120 meetings in 4 months. Mm-hmm. So elapsed time, is relative. I mean, I don't think. I mean, it'd be great to see if anyone's watching this who's been able to make 120 meetings through cold calling, or through sending spam emails to send us a message, because I think that 120 meetings in 4 months is record breaking.
Yeah, it's quite a lot. It's actually it's time really well spent. So it's high quality time, because when we talk about 120 meetings, we're not talking about meetings of 3 minutes, where you've got someone on the phone exasperated,
saying, "Please don't pitch to me."
So we're talking about 30 minutes
where people actually want to meet you and actually want to have a
friendly conversation. Exactly.
So one of the things that I know that you've talked about is one of the things that we're always trying to get an understanding of, certainly the salespeople watching this, which is about content. Mm-hmm. So you've actually written 95 original LinkedIn articles, and you've now got 380 subscribers for your newsletter. Tell us about your process for creating content. So I guess that's about the company that you work for and the products and services.
It's a mix, and this goes back to creating relationship. Obviously, I'm talking about what I believe can make you successful in social selling. That's obviously something.
So you write content about what will help people.
Yes, but I think it's also about sharing a little bit about who you are, and actually my most successful pieces of content have nothing to do with social selling.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
So nothing. So your 3 most successful pieces of content have nothing to do with your company or your products.
Nothing to do with my company or my product, and I think that's an interesting outcome. At least that's an outcome that everybody should think about. We're not interested into you broadcasting your corporate communications. Actually, that's my experience. People are more interested in what you're doing, so who you are. Now, there's obviously a balance that needs to occur, because we're not on TikTok here, we're not on Instagram, so it's seen as being a very professional network. But with that said, you can't create a relationship with someone you don't know. So you need to balance this and give a little bit of yourself so that everybody understands who you are and are more inclined then to meet you.
So one of the things that you've said in the past is that social media is about two things. It's about your professional story and it's about your personal story. Is that what you're saying here?
Exactly. And it's really well said, because my English is not that perfect.
No, your English is amazing, Bertrand, don't worry. And so okay, so we've posted something, we've got a lot of engagement. So what? We can pat ourselves on the back. What did you just leave that and move on, or did you do something with that engagement?
That's probably one of the most misunderstood area from my perspective. The way I look at content is it's my shop. So it's basically, I'm online. I've got people passing by. I'm actually trying to get a lot of people passing by. But there is no idea of inbound as a result of posting content. It's purely for people to understand who you are and what this is all about. So I see this as a shop where I've got content as instructive, diverse, and relevant for the people who will be stopping on my profile.
Okay. We've had another comment from Adam Gray saying, you can't create a relationship with someone you don't know. Absolutely perfect.
That's clear. That's clear.
So I mean, it's really interesting, because I mean, I look out over LinkedIn and I see lots of people failing because they're posting things about company. If they post a case study, that's all very interesting, but we know what the case study is going to say. So let's talk about your routine, because I think it's something that, again, something else that people can take away from today. Tell us about your because you have a particular routine, don't you, in terms of what you call your LinkedIn wake up?
Yes, exactly. So I think there is this idea that there's a lot to do when you want to be actively present on social media. The reality is that it takes me between 20 and 30 minutes per day.
Okay.
There is a sequence of actions that I am executing on a daily basis. That's basically, number one, thank you for connecting of the previous day. Then I'm sending invites. Then I'm sending meeting requests. Then I publish my content, and then I make a few comments, comments on articles that on members, and publishing articles that I find are usually instructive. That's basically it,
So you're just spending. So you're getting 120 meetings by spending 30 minutes a day on social.
Exactly, and then
You are joking me.
No, no, I'm not.
Surely you must be doing something. You must be doing something else.
I am.
Because if I was cold calling, it would probably, I'd be spending days doing this.
No, I mean, really, and I'm almost ashamed to say that, but that doesn't go beyond 30 minutes a day.
Right.
Of actions that are always the same. But I think the key here is regularity. So I'm not doing 2 hours or 3 hours on Monday and then 0 for the rest of the week. I'm just doing 30 minutes every single day.
It's every single day, basically doing the stuff and doing what you need to do.
And when you think about it, all of the members of my network are not coming on a daily basis. So the point is, when they are there, and because it is my business at the end of the day, I have to be there.
So One of the things that you talked about in terms of the process that you go through is that you thank people on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
Because I sent an invite and they accepted, and I say I just think the best way to start the relationship is to say thank you for accepting, and then we'll later on we'll come to the point where I believe it's time for us to meet, and then I'll request a meeting.
Because I guess it's saying thank you. Nobody else says thank you, so you stand out just by saying thank you.
Well, a robot doesn't. That's or at least it's not. Maybe the people behind the robot don't see the interest into this. But there is obviously, it's always nice, to get a thank you.
Mm.
And to be honest, because I didn't mention this, but when I send, just for the record, when I send today 100 invites, I get 48 new contacts.
Okay, yeah. So you send 100 invites.
That's quite a lot of thank you.
It is a lot of thank yous, but I mean, it's interesting because for start by just saying thank you is would differentiate you. And the next thing is if you say thank you, people may actually start already engaging in the conversation.
Yes, they do. Some do.
So one of the things that I in the final 3 or so minutes, I just wanted to work through with you some of the tools that you use, because you must be using some level of automation to do this, or some LinkedIn automation or something.
And I am sorry to say that I don't use any automation.
You use no automation at all?
No automation at all. At least on LinkedIn. I do use automation for other networks that are open, but we all know that this is not LinkedIn's strategy. LinkedIn is a true networking environment. So if you use automation, it means you're not there. How can you network if you're not there? It sounds basics, but
yeah, I mean, who sends a robot to a networking meeting? I mean, nobody does, do they?
No. you need to be there.
So in terms of the tools that you use, you're doing a manual process because you're thanking people. There's the reactions and stuff like that, and you're using things like Google Workspace and Gemini. You're using elements of AI, not to write are you using those to write the posts?
No, I've tried. I keep trying, but I'm not happy with the outcome. So so far, I use Gemini to put emojis into my posts. And also to generate some of the tweets that I'm associating to these posts. And then there are other things that I use, like.
So you're using so on each of your posts that you put out, yes, you put your face, don't you? Or there's a photo of you.
Yes. So I use Canva for this, and I use also the embedded Copilot within LinkedIn, which actually works very well. So there's no need to invest here, but it's just that in some instances I use Canva as well to have somehow a brand, so something that comes back and say, okay, so that's Bertrand. We know.
Okay. I know that you're an Opus Clips user because for those that don't know, Bertrand is a regular guest on our digital download, which is every Friday at 2:00 UK time. And I know you use Opus Clips as a great way of creating short videos.
Yes.
You also use Buffer and Nimble as a CRM, don't you?
Exactly. Very efficient, very simple, very efficient, very light background, very light back office, basically.
So
this is not about tools. This is about methodology.
And it's interesting because one of the things that you said to me is that to be successful in sales today, it's about soft skills.
Yes, we've invested a lot into storytelling around, start with why, and then storytelling, and also visual communications, which are actually very useful soft skills. I'm a big believer that social selling is the next soft skills that everybody should get on. And for various reasons, we won't have time to go through this, but the overall sales process has changed so much, and the fact that nobody wants to be interrupted any longer. All of that plays for a very strong avenue for social selling, basically.
So just to summarize there, that the 3 soft skills we need are storytelling, visual communication, and social selling.
Exactly.
Bertrand, it's been a fascinating walk through your success over the last couple of months. Congratulations. I mean, it's just a fantastic case study. And I hope other people can actually learn from this. Remind people where they can find you.
You can find me on LinkedIn, Bertrand Godillot, Bertrand Godillot in French, and on my website, odysseusandco.com.
And if anyone wants to pick up, have a conversation with you about this, you're happy to talk to them about it.
Absolutely. More than happy.
Bertrand, thank you so much for coming on and talking about it, and for the engagement we had today as well. Thank you so much for that as well.